We have some major news, folks. Donald Trump is retaliating against the protests, the No King's Day protests in cities like Los Angeles, New York, Chicago, and elsewhere by ordering ICE operations to ramp up in Democratic-run cities. I cannot overstate the magnitude of this. I made a previous video about this, but it's important to recognize that the only reason Donald Trump is targeting cities like Los Angeles, New York, Chicago are because of the massive anti-ICE protests, the No King's Day protests. People are making their voices heard, and in response, Trump right now is ordering ICE, DHS, and other federal agencies to ramp up enforcement in these cities. Here's the thing. Undocumented immigrants live in red states and blue states, red cities and blue cities. It doesn't matter where they live, but right now, the Trump administration is going to prioritize enforcement in blue cities. So just be aware.
One protest sign said it best: "We don't do crowns, we do ballots." So, what was this really about? Let's break it down. 1. The optics were dictator core. From the tanks to the music to the thunderous flyovers, this wasn't about patriotism. It was about power projection. Trump wasn't honoring the troops. He was using them as a backdrop, just like Kim, just like Putin, just like every tin-pot autocrat he's ever fawned over. 2. It cost a fortune. The final cost? Between $25 and $45 million. For what? A spectacle that no one asked for, and even fewer showed up to. Meanwhile, veterans are living in cars, schools are underfunded, food insecurity is rising. But hey, at least the robot dogs got their moment. 3. It politicized the military. Again, one of America's most sacred principles is that the military doesn't serve the man, it serves the Constitution. But this event blurred that line, and dangerously so. Troops were deployed like props. Uniformed service members marched for a politician's ego, not for the country. And if you think that sounds like an exaggeration, just ask the Pentagon insiders who reportedly expressed deep discomfort with the entire event. Even some veterans groups were split, some showing up in protest, others boycotting entirely. Because they knew this wasn't about honoring the army, it was about honoring Trump. And Trump? He loved every second of it. Rain or not, crowd or not, he stood there soaking it all in, saluting like a king on a throne of steel and delusion. But here's the twist. Instead of solidifying his legacy or boosting his image, the parade backfired. It didn't spark unity, it didn't impress moderates, and it definitely didn't silence critics. Instead, it reignited all the worst fears about a second Trump term. That he sees the presidency not as a duty, but as a stage. That he'll twist national symbols into personal branding. And that if he could, he'd replace the eagle with a gold-plated T. So what are we really looking at here? A man turning a national military anniversary into a birthday photo op, while the rest of the country watches, angry, exhausted, and completely unconvinced. Because in the end, no matter how many tanks you roll out, you can't parade your way into respect. You can't buy legacy with bombs and flags, and you definitely can't march your way into the hearts of a country that sees right through you. So the question now is, was this a parade or a warning? Let us know in the comments. And if you're here for sharp takes, savage truths, and stories that don't flinch when the absurd gets loud, hit like, tap subscribe, and stay locked in with Trend Feed, because this isn't over, and we're not blinking.
You could see the exact moment Trump realized he was cooked, when he looked out at the crowd and he realized there wasn't one. This man spent $48 million of taxpayer money on what was essentially a sad cosplay of a North Korean military parade.
Look, let me tell you something, okay? So for those of you that don't know how a military parade works, right? So when they are marching, right, you have the one that's in the front that leads, and they have to do eyes right. So they have to face the president. So you can clearly tell that Donald J. Trump is fucking fed up. You can tell that he is pissed the fuck off because number one, it rained. Number two, nobody showed up. And number three, this guy right here is saluting him and he's Hispanic. Look at his face.
Donald Trump was caught crying during his birthday parade. At least that's how it seemed, as the whole thing was a flop. Now, multiple times during the parade, Donald Trump was caught falling asleep, looking bored, yawning, But this moment will be the image of the parade. Take a look at this. Full pouty face by Donald Trump. It is almost something you would create with AI, but that is real. Yeah, and his whole staff during the parade looked bored. Marco Rubio was caught yawning. The whole thing was just a flop. And while a lot of you are going to say, well, it's honoring the Army, you can honor the Army. You can celebrate the 250th anniversary of the Army without honoring yourself. And that's what Donald Trump did. And we know it was for his birthday because they sang happy birthday to him and presented him with a gift at the end of the parade. The whole thing fell apart and Donald Trump's face showed it all. Meanwhile, the No Kings protest were a resounding smash hit. Smiles everywhere. Well done, America.
I won! Can I get a giant Coke on my birthday? What pussy do I have to be? Hey, giant coconut!
It's official. There's no way he won the election in 2024. Look at all the people on the streets right now. There's no way. He lost.
So, Donald J. Trump, the MAGA dad and wannabe dictator president, turned 79 this year. And while most people his age are blowing out candles and praying their knees still work, Trump had something a little more authoritarian in mind. He didn't want cake or cards. He wanted tanks, helicopters, a full-blown military flex. Why? Because deep down, Trump has always had a thing for strongman aesthetics. And not just any strongman, he's been openly, weirdly obsessed with North Korea's Kim Jong-un. You remember that moment when he said he fell in love with him? Yeah, that wasn't satire. In fact, there's a now infamous clip of Trump admiring North Korea's massive military parades, saying he wished the U.S. could do the same thing.
Are we close to seeing Mr. Kim here at the White House?
Could happen. I mean,
they talked about that yesterday with Mike Pompeo?
Yeah, I think it's something that could happen. Yeah. Hey, he's the head of a country, and I mean, he is the strong head. Mm-hmm. Don't let anyone think anything different. Right. He speaks, and his people sit up at attention. I want my people to do the same.
Meanwhile, across the country, millions of people showed up to the No Kings protest. Like, it wasn't even close. The protests had bigger turnouts, better music, and somehow more cake. The president looked like a man watching his own political funeral in real time. The smirk faded. The eyes got glassy. You could almost hear the voice in his head saying, Melania was right. And the best part, this wasn't just a bad birthday. It was a historic momentum shift. Because when millions of people take to the streets on your big day to say, nah, we're good, that's not a protest. That's a preview. And at this rate, Trump might have accidentally guaranteed a Democratic supermajority. Not just in Congress, in everything. State houses, city councils, PTA meetings. He just handed the left the best voter turnout operation it's ever had by throwing himself a parade no one asked for. So let's keep it up. Ride this wave, organize, vote, stay loud. And let's make sure the only fireworks this guy sees next year are from his ankle monitor lighting up when he steps too far from Mar-a-Lago.
This shit is music to my ears because this man dodged the draft 5 times. 5, not once, but 5 times, claiming bone spurs. So he is now the new Commander Bone Spurs. This man right here used all these tough words about how he's going to use his big force. Look at this. Look at this shit. Look at this shit right here. I'm pretty sure he was assuming that all of the soldiers that were going to be marching were going to be all white males that were all in shape like he did at Fort Bragg. He was able to select all of the soldiers that he wanted behind him, all a certain type. He wanted all of them to be in top shape. He wanted all of them to be white. There were no women. There were no minorities. And now he realized that during the parade, there were a lot of minorities that were marching, as well as that the Hispanic sergeant that was saluting him. What?
So when June 14th rolled around, Trump's birthday and the 250th anniversary of the U.S. Army, he figured, why not combine the two and give himself a little gift? Except by gift, we mean a $40 million taxpayer-funded military circus. And just to be clear, this wasn't some subtle celebration of national pride. This was Trump's dream sequence come to life. Over 6,600 active duty troops were mobilized. Tanks rolled down Constitution Avenue, fighter jets ripped across the sky, and just when you thought it couldn't get more dystopian, robot dogs, yes, actual robot dogs, were strutting next to the Marines like we'd entered a crossover episode between The Purge and RoboCop. But here's the thing. Despite the military muscle, the pageantry, and the MAGA fanfare, the parade flopped hard. Trump was reportedly expecting hundreds of thousands. What he got looked more like a poorly attended high school pep rally with confused tourists and empty sidewalks. Even the rain came down like Mother Nature herself was booing. And while Trump was out there saluting tanks and pretending to be commander of the free world's birthday bash, America was protesting. Over 2,000 cities across the U.S. took part in coordinated No King's Day demonstrations, calling out Trump's blatant authoritarian cosplay and the dangerous precedent it sets when the military becomes a birthday prop. Because that's what this really was. A loyalty parade.